going on there, guys? Earthmaster here, checking in on this December 22nd, 2020 is the date this evening. 7:08 p.m. West Coast time here in California. And hopefully you guys got a chance to check out that Christmas star last night, right up in the sky. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction was pretty cool. Wasn't nothing spectacular, like some of those fake photos floating around on Facebook. But I tell you what, it was pretty cool. To see the two planets there that close. Anyway, taking a look at the earthquake 3D globe here shows the latest quake up here in Alaska. I'm going to jump right into the activity going on out there in Hawaii right now with Kīlauea Volcano still very active. As you can see here on this USGS map here from the volcano page, indicating that it's still underneath an orange watch. And those watch codes are as follows right here real quick. Orange indicating a volcano is exhibiting heightened or escalating unrest with increased potential of eruption. Time frame uncertain, right? It's a very active volcano out there. And for the watch, as far as this goes, volcano is exhibiting heightened or escalating unrest with increased potential of eruption. Time frame uncertain, or eruption is underway. Okay, so it's downgraded a little bit from the red code that was given to the volcano on the day that it erupted there a couple days ago. But it's still very, very active there with two fissures that are still supplying lava into the new lava lake there in the crater area. Latest information there from the folks at the USGS. We'll go ahead and check out that article real quick that they got here. Let's see here. This is just going to show, I think, some photos and videos and whatnot. But it does have a lot of cool information on the eruption itself there. Looks like the lava lake rose 3 meters in 3.5 hours. The lake surface is now 487 meters, which is almost 1,600 feet below the crater rim observation site, indicating that lake has filled 440 feet of the bottom of this specific crater right here. I know I pronounced that a couple days ago wrong. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it tonight. You're more than welcome to look up the pronunciation if you know, or if you know it, you can drop it down in the comments there. I've tried a couple different ways. This is more than double the depth of the water lake that was in the crater until the evening of December 20th, when it was vaporized into a huge cloud sent up into the atmosphere. Fountaining continues at two locations more vigorously at eastern vent, and both vents continue to feed the growing lava lake. So very active still as we speak, folks. And of course, sulfur dioxide, SO2, right, is pretty rich up there. Folks taking precautions, of course, not to breathe all that stuff in, hopefully. A lot of monitoring going on. You can see these pictures right here. I would love to jump on an airplane and go take some video myself, but it's just not possible at the moment. Not possible. That would be so cool, though, to get some aerial shots, or not aerials, but close-up shots there of that specific volcano doing its thing there. You can see the two fissures there. Looks like we've got west fissures and the north fissure there supplying that lava lake. From a couple infrared heating camera things there. Let's see, when was this here? December 22nd, 2:43 p.m., which was today. It does show the two fissures of the crater wall that continue to feed the growing lava lake. It's pretty awesome, I tell you what. Man, a little bit jealous. Would love to jump over there. The recent eruption within the crater at Kīlauea Volcano summit has deposited, what is that, Tephra looks like, downwind of the vent, much like the 2018 lava lake at the summit of Kīlauea, resulted in Tephra deposition locally downwind of the event. Okay, within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, the ongoing eruption is depositing small volcanic glass particles. Wow, that's pretty cool. Such appeals here. Downwind of the activity, this photo shows a solar panel for the USGS Hawaiian Volcano Monitoring System, which is located on the crater rim. Check out all those deposits there. That's pretty crazy. A lot of things happening there when that volcano erupts, which it's still ongoing at the moment. So yeah, once again, color code there. Watch, orange watch in effect. It's looking like, far as the GPS systems go, that we're not seeing any type of more bulging or more, what's the word I'm looking for here? I've seen it here somewhere in one of these articles. They talked about how we're not seeing like a more of an influence of magma, like an intrusion of magma. It looks like it may just be consistently flowing at the moment. So, but things can change very quickly. Here's a couple pictures there from the USGS showing the two fissures there supplying the lake. That would not be a fun lake to go fishing in, trust me, that's for sure. Some drift of the smoke there, of the poisonous gases, I should say, and a bunch of monitoring systems there. That would be pretty awesome to be right smack dab right there on the crater rim. Man, what I wouldn't give for that. And a couple other pretty awesome shots there of the lava flow from the eruption. Pretty crazy, right? I tell you what, it's pretty awesome though. So yeah, we're kind of monitoring it, folks. Earthquake activity within that region still pretty active. There on the USGS map, you can see the activity popping off there in the Big Island. A lot of movement down south away from the crater area. This here is the Kīlauea Volcano region, the crater area, the East Rift zone here. See some earthquake activity popping off. This is the last 24 hours. Let me double check this and make sure it's refreshed. Yes, it is. So not a whole lot more movement in this area, but the flowing of lava continues, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down at the moment. But anything can happen. All it takes is another trigger from down below, potentially a bigger earthquake that could release some or supply some more magma there and produce some lava up there at the crater areas or anywhere in there, anywhere in the region, like in 2018 where we've seen fissures pretty much opening up all over the place. It was a pretty scary sight there, some of the video I've seen. But for now, earthquake activity relatively minimal at the moment. Latest quake there down in this section of the Big Island, pretty deep as well. Some movement down there, 34 kilometers below the surface with that 2.3 in this region here. Quite a cluster of deep movement out there. You can see the depth over here on the left side, indicating that deeper movement. So kind of watching the area as we shoot back up here to the Pacific Northwest and that West Coast area. About the same. We did see a 4-pointer yesterday down here in the area of, just south of Mexicali here, just off the area of this plate boundary here, the Imperial Fault System, which is kind of similar to an extensional fault here at the Brawley Seismic Zone. Kind of an extensional fault of the San Andreas Fault there, the North American Pacific Plate boundary. That 4-pointer was followed up by some activity up here specifically on the San Andreas Fault here. This was originally, I believe, a 3-pointer or 3.1. They downgraded it to a 2.8 there near Pure Blossom, California, but just off the San Andreas Fault System there. You can see within about a mile, maybe about 3/4 of a mile there off the San Andreas Fault. We really haven't seen a whole lot of movement on this locked section of the fault system in quite a while. So just kind of keep an eye on that for potential swarming down here as well. No major swarming. Just a couple small quakes near the Salton Sea region, a couple microquakes. But yeah, kind of watching this pretty closely. Ridgecrest area seeing some minor movement. A lot of microquakes taking place there. Also up in Nevada as well. No major movement there to report. Let's shoot up here to the Northern California area around the Lake Almanor area. Beautiful area. I think it's still beautiful with all the wildfires, though. I don't know. It's hard to say. I haven't been up there in a while. I don't know if there's a lot of trees up there anymore or not. But a couple small microquakes around the lake area. Mount Shasta sits up here, off to the northwest by an extended amount of miles here. So we're not seeing any type of movement there at the Mount Lassen region or the summit area. As far as the rest of Northern California goes, small little quake over here near Ferndale, well off the coast, down there on the southern part of the Gorda Ridge or Gorda Escarpment region. Other than that, pretty quiet along the Cascade subduction zone when it comes to surface quakes. Mount Rainier showing a little bit of activity off the summit area by a couple miles. Also, Mount St. Helens showing a little microquake there, just to the north of the crater summit area by about a mile or so. A little 0.7 microquake at a 5.3 kilometer depth there. So, kind of watching that. What else we got here, folks? Idaho still seeing a pretty good cluster of quakes there. Not a whole lot of movement, but we're looking at mid-2s and a bunch of 1s in there as well. Yellowstone National Park, relatively quiet. We can check the Yellowstone thumbnails here in just a second. You can see a little line of activity out here stretching through parts of Utah into northern New Mexico, Oklahoma area as well. Seen some movement. Did have that oddball quake there a couple days ago there. Where was it? Just on the I think it was just on the Colorado side of the border right here. I think that was at 4.3, 4.4, somewhere around there. Can't remember the exact magnitude. Let's see that real quick. Yeah, 4.3. That's that blue circle right there. And while we're on this map, there's that little four-pointer that struck down there off the Imperial Fault, kind of squeezing the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault here, applying a little bit more pressure in that region. Let's see what else we got here. Oklahoma, just some microquakes out there. I guess, what do we got there? A couple 2s out there rocking the area, kind of closer to the Ozark Plateau over there. This area starts to get really, really green out there. Lots of trees. I love that area of Oklahoma. Small little quake out here in eastern Tennessee. Right out there in the Greenback, Tennessee area. That's an area that's pretty... right smack dab in the earthquake hazard area when it comes to major earthquake activity potential in the future. See that little 2.3, almost right smack in the highest area. But that doesn't mean anything, folks. Just an area to watch in the future for sure. The rest of the globe, some movement down here off the coast of Mexico in the Pacific out here. A couple quakes right smack dab on top of each other. 5.6, 5.8, and 4.4 in the this fracture area right here. Looks like Siqueiros, is that right? Siqueiros, potentially. Hopefully that's right. I do know a little bit of Espanol, but no mucho. Especially when it comes to these names like this, kind of question that. Either way, some movement out there taking place. Chile area, South America, some moderate-sized quake out there as well. No major movement to report. Philippines, seen a little bit of activity out there. A 5.0. Santa Monica, Philippines area. 60 kilometers below surface, so relatively deep. Not a whole lot of movement being felt out there at the surface, I'm sure. And Japan area, seen some moderate quakes there with the upper 4s. Showing on this USGS map. And also checking down here near the... Well, Fiji's pretty quiet if you take a look at that. Normally we see some deep movement out here in the Fiji Islands area, but relatively quiet over the last 24 hours. Just a little 4.5 out there to the west. New Zealand area, we would have to go into the... let's see here, the GeoNet map here to check out this area. See what's been cracking down there in the New Zealand area. This is over the last, 365 days of activity. Not a whole lot of, 365 days is a lot for this little map here. Not a whole lot of movement there, but they do have some earthquake activity out there. Most of all, looks like a couple of 3s, it looks like. Maybe some 2s over the last couple hours or so. And, there's a 4.2 that struck out there. A moderate-sized earthquake in that area. Not for sure where this is at, far as like the population density out there. But it does look like, what is that, Reefton? Is that correct? Hopefully. Looks like some shaking being reported out there, moderate. Maybe some folks reporting some strong movement as well from that 4.2. 5 kilometers below surface, so that definitely providing some shaking. So yeah, a little bit of activity on the uptick there, it looks like, in the New Zealand area. over the last, definitely over the last 24 hours or so. Let's check out the Yellowstone thumbnails real quick here. Pretty quiet. I don't see any type of swarming, folks. No movement really to report at all. No microquakes or anything. Nothing. Zip zero. This is all weather related events there. You can see that darker signature there. This is not magma movement, no type of lava flow, no underground movement. Wind, weather events going on there for sure, showing up pretty much all over the main graphs here. Let's see. Let's check the trimmer map real quick here, and it's been pretty quiet, at least today anyway. A couple small tremors in the northern part of Northern California, southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. Looking at yesterday's events there, I don't see anything. There wasn't anything at all there. In fact, looks like Northern California there had a pretty good cluster a couple days ago, but even then, that's not a whole lot of movement on the Cascadia subduction zone there when it comes to trimmer. Let's see what else we got here, folks. There is some solar weather activity to talk about here. There is a potential for geomagnetic storms taking place here. Looks like on the 23rd, which is tomorrow, potential for looks like G1 class storm. Mid latitudes 20%, high latitudes at 55%, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for potential auroras. This here is the Aurora Forecast area. Of course, within this green area that's marked there, you have a potential to see it. Right now, it looks, well, there's not a whole lot going on there. It is obviously showing there, but we're not looking at the KP index, and it looks pretty mellow. But that is expected to change here over the next 24 or 48 hours or so. See what these guys have to say here. Storm conditions are expected early on the 22nd due to continuing CRR influences, with primarily unsettled to active levels the remainder of the day. Unsettled to active conditions are expected on the 23rd, with likely periods of G1 storm conditions late due to escalating CHHSS influences. Primarily unsettled to active conditions are anticipated on the 24th, but should weaken. So no major movement, just a potential for some heightened activity there up in the higher latitudes there. See what the space weather site has when it comes to sunspots. Relatively quiet. Sunspot AR2794 is large, but magnetically simple. It does not appear to pose a threat for strong flares. That's this little sunspot over there. Look at that. It's just a dot. Normally, we want to see, when it comes to sun flares and solar activity and potential for some heightened activity, we want to see this looking way different than just a simple dot like that. You can kind of see it on this one here too, the coronal hole right here, kind of facing up and away from our plane that we're on here on Earth. But there is the solar, or the sunspot that's out there that they're talking about. Nothing major at the moment, but this stuff like this can pick up too. They can definitely ramp up really quickly. I lost that. Okay, here we go. And other than that, there's no major asteroids heading to our area. At least not that they're telling us, right? I mean, would they even tell us if there was an asteroid coming to Earth? It's hard to say. If it was a potentially a devastating one, I don't know if they would. A couple close encounters there around Christmas time, Christmas Eve, but even though those are relatively small, it's a little close one there on the February 2nd of next year. But still, at 0.6 lunar distances, pretty. That's still pretty far. And what are we looking at? What's the 7 meters? Oh heck, 7 meters would make a pretty cool shooting star. That's about it. So arriving a day earlier than expected, a stream of high-speed solar wind hit Earth's magnetic field on December 22nd. The gaseous material is flowing from a northern hole in the sun's atmosphere. Yeah, so that's kind of why we're seeing that heightened activity there on the Aurora Forecast, which is this one right here, which is also on the live stream. Of course, you know, if you're in this area, you have the potential to see the auroras, that's for sure. What I'd like to see, which will probably never happen, is it going down here into California. That would be pretty spectacular, but you never know. I mean, as we're heading into solar maximum, we could potentially see some cool stuff going on there with the sun. All right, folks, I am out of here. Still keep an eye on this volcano, folks. We are watching it pretty closely. It's a very active volcano, and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be probably active for a little while. We're gonna keep an eye on GPS stations and earthquake activity, as those all could change, which could point to potential for you know, higher induced lava flows, you know, and more magma intrusion. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you guys updated when things change, if they change. For now, have a good night, folks. Live stream is up and running, and yeah, please stay safe out there, folks. It's a crazy world. Have a good night, everyone.